Imagine a vast, quiet desert stretching endlessly in the hot sun of New Mexico. The year is 1947, and while the world has just emerged from the devastation of World War II, a new tension grips the air. It's the beginning of the Cold War, an era when both hope and fear walked hand in hand. The future looked bright but also uncertain, clouded by secrets, technological advances, and the ever-growing shadow of nuclear power. In this atmosphere of suspicion and optimism, something extraordinary happens. Something that, to this day, has people questioning reality itself. In the middle of this desolate landscape, a sound cuts through the stillness. It isn't thunder or a storm approaching, but something far stranger. The sound jolts Mac Brazel, a local rancher, awake in his modest home. The next morning, as he ventures out to inspect his property, something seems off. His livestock, which usually roams freely across the ranch, seems disturbed, avoiding a specific patch of land. Curious, Mac heads towards the spot, and that's when he sees it. Scattered across the ground are metallic debris, unlike anything he's ever encountered. The pieces are light, yet they feel impossibly strong, as if they don't belong to this world. Thus begins the Roswell Incident, one of the most mysterious events of modern history. Even now, decades later, people debate what really happened that summer of 1947. Was it just a weather balloon, as officials claimed, or was it something far more enigmatic, contact with beings from another world? This is where our journey into the mystery begins, a mystery that transcends time and continues to captivate millions. Was Roswell truly the site of the first confirmed UFO crash? Or was it all part of a carefully crafted cover-up? To understand why Roswell remains such a potent symbol in our cultural consciousness, we must first look at the context of the time. World War II had only recently ended, with the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serving as stark reminders of what humanity's newfound power could achieve, both in terms of destruction and progress. The world was teetering on the edge of nuclear uncertainty, with superpowers like the United States and the Soviet Union embarking on a race for technological dominance. It was also a period when the skies themselves became a new battleground. Aircraft technology had advanced rapidly during the war, and now people began to wonder, what else might be out there? In June of that year, Kenneth Arnold, a private pilot, reported seeing strange objects while flying over Washington state. He described them as crescent-shaped crafts that moved like saucers skipping on water. Although Arnold didn't use the term, the media quickly coined the phrase flying saucers, setting off a wave of UFO sightings across the country. The public's imagination was already primed, and just a few weeks later, the headlines exploded with news from Roswell. At first, Mac Brazel didn't know what to make of the strange debris he found. It was just an odd assortment of unfamiliar materials that had fallen from the sky. But after pondering it for a few days, he decided to report the find to local authorities. Sheriff George Wilcox, unsure of what to do, passed the information on to the nearby Roswell Army Airfield. Enter Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer at the base. When Marcel arrived at Brazel's ranch, he was immediately struck by the materials scattered across the field. It didn't resemble anything he had encountered in his military career. The metal was light as a feather, but incredibly resilient. Marcel's words would echo through the years as he described the debris. It was as thin as tin foil, but couldn't be bent or broken. On his way back to the base, Marcel made an unusual stop. He swung by his house and showed the strange materials to his family, spreading the debris across the kitchen floor. His son, Jesse Marcel Jr., only 11 years old at the time, would later recall vividly how he touched the pieces, believing that what he saw that night was not of this world. Decades later, Marcel Jr. would stand by his father's account, asserting that the wreckage they saw that night was indeed alien in origin. The military moved quickly. Within hours, Roswell Army Airfield released a statement saying they had recovered a flying disc. This was the moment that ignited the imaginations of millions. For a brief period, the public was led to believe that extraterrestrial life had been discovered. Newspapers across the country splashed the story on their front pages, and people everywhere began to wonder, were we truly not alone? But within 24 hours, the official narrative shifted drastically. The Army backtracked, issuing a new statement that what they had actually recovered was a weather balloon. The sudden change raised eyebrows. Why would an experienced officer like Major Marcel mistake a simple balloon for something as extraordinary as a UFO? The seed of doubt was planted, and as the years passed, more questions arose. Was the government covering something up? What could be so important that they felt the need to change the story so quickly? The abrupt reversal in the official story only added fuel to the growing fire of public speculation. What began as an open and shut case of a crashed UFO now seemed steeped in secrecy and deception. As more witnesses came forward over the years, the mystery deepened. Eyewitnesses, including Major Marcel and others who were there, continued to insist that what they saw that day was not from this world. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force issued a new report, stating that the debris was actually part of a top-secret project called Project Mogul. The aim of this project was to use high-altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. While the explanation satisfied some, for others, it seemed like yet another convenient story to bury the truth. The explanation for the alien bodies seen by some witnesses: crash test dummies used in military experiments. But for many, the new official version raised more questions than answers. If it was merely a weather balloon or military project, why had the story been altered so quickly in the first place? And why did credible witnesses, such as Marcel, continue to stick to their claims? The debate over what really happened in Roswell has endured for more than half a century, evolving into one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. The Roswell Incident has inspired books, documentaries, films, and a subculture of UFO enthusiasts dedicated to finding the truth. Over time, it has grown into more than just an isolated event. It has become the center of modern-day conspiracy theories. What really happened that summer in Roswell? Were alien spacecraft and extraterrestrial beings recovered only to be hidden by a government determined to keep it secret? Or was the entire event simply a misunderstanding blown out of proportion? The truth remains elusive, but one thing is certain: the mystery of Roswell has captured the collective imagination, becoming a symbol of mankind's desire to understand the unknown. For decades, the Roswell Incident has remained a tantalizing enigma. Despite multiple government reports, investigations, and explanations, the mystery persists, fueled by eyewitness accounts, alleged cover-ups, and countless theories. The possibility that we may have been visited by beings from another world has become an integral part of our cultural landscape, blending science fiction with scientific curiosity. Major Jesse Marcel stood by his story until the day he died. To him and others like him, what they saw that day in New Mexico was not something of this earth. They were convinced that the government knew more than it let on, and that Project Mogul was merely a convenient excuse to conceal the truth. Whether you believe in extraterrestrial encounters or think the whole affair was a misunderstanding, one fact remains clear. Roswell is more than just a location. It's a metaphor for human curiosity, a reflection of our deep desire to answer the question, are we alone in the universe? As we stand here decades later, the Roswell Incident continues to be a touchstone for discussions about government secrecy, the unknown, and humanity's fascination with what lies beyond our understanding. For those who believe, it offers hope that we are not alone. For skeptics, it represents a cautionary tale of how misinformation can lead to widespread speculation. And yet, even as the facts remain in dispute, the emotional resonance of Roswell endures. It speaks to something fundamental about us as human beings: our yearning to explore the stars, our fear of the unknown, and our ever-present hope that there is more to existence than what we can see and touch. Roswell remains a riddle, but perhaps that's the point. It's a mystery that keeps us asking questions, not just about what happened, but about our place in the vastness of the universe. The world's fascination with Roswell grew over the years, not merely because of what happened there, but because of what it represents. To many, Roswell is more than just an incident. It's a symbol of the world's first potential contact with something far beyond our understanding. It encapsulates the fear, excitement, and deep curiosity that we as humans hold about the cosmos. Are we alone? What does life beyond Earth look like? How much do governments truly know? The Roswell story spread like wildfire through every corner of the globe, touching not just the minds of conspiracy theorists and UFO enthusiasts, but also becoming a part of mainstream culture. The phenomenon grew from a simple crash report to something much larger, an unsolvable puzzle that continues to inspire books, films, documentaries, and late-night talk show discussions. In the decades following Roswell, the public's hunger for extraterrestrial stories exploded. Hollywood got involved, with blockbusters like E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and later, Independence Day, pulling in massive audiences and millions in revenue. These films and shows played into the collective fascination with the idea that we are not alone in the universe, often framing government agencies as shadowy figures withholding the truth from the public. But beyond the pop culture explosion, Roswell also sparked an era of intense skepticism. People began to question not just the event itself, but the trustworthiness of their own governments. Roswell became the poster child for government cover-ups, a story that symbolized how little control we, the public, have over what we're told. One cannot fully understand the Roswell phenomenon without considering the broader political landscape of the time. The late 1940s were defined by the rise of the Cold War, a period of high tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. Both superpowers were locked in an arms race, eager to outdo each other in military might and technological superiority. With nuclear warfare a very real threat, secrecy was paramount. The U.S. government, particularly the military, needed to keep any strategic advantage hidden, which often meant that certain information was classified at the highest levels. Whether it was Project Mogul, weather balloons, or extraterrestrial technology, many believe that Roswell was an early instance of the kind of covert operations that would become commonplace during the Cold War. People began to ask themselves, what else could the government be hiding? If they are willing to lie about something as massive as alien contact, what other truths are they keeping from the public eye? This period marked the beginning of a deep mistrust in institutions, a mistrust that still exists today. And Roswell is one of the key historical markers in this shift. For many, Roswell was proof that the military was not just concerned with the Soviet threat, but was also aware of potential threats from beyond Earth. The UFO sightings, along with witness testimonies from military officials like Major Jesse Marcel, made people believe that the Air Force had recovered advanced alien technology and was studying it for military use. This idea of reverse engineering alien craft has become central to many theories, particularly as technology progressed rapidly in the following decades. Did our advances in aviation and electronics come from studying extraterrestrial technology? This question has persisted, fueling endless speculation. The Roswell story might have faded into obscurity had it not been for a handful of whistleblowers who came forward over the years. These individuals, many of whom had close ties to the military or intelligence agencies, painted a picture of government deception and the lengths officials would go to maintain control over the narrative. One such figure was Glenn Dennis, a local mortician who claimed that he was contacted by the military shortly after the crash, asking for small, child-sized coffins. Dennis's story didn't end there. He also alleged that he spoke to a nurse stationed at Roswell Army Airfield who told him about alien autopsies that were conducted following the incident. According to Dennis, the nurse was horrified by what she saw: small, gray-skinned beings with oversized heads and elongated eyes, distinctly different from human anatomy. Though the nurse in Glenn Dennis's story was never identified, and some question the validity of his account, his testimony added another layer to the Roswell conspiracy. If true, it meant that the military had recovered not just alien technology, but living or deceased extraterrestrial beings. This revelation sent shockwaves through the UFO community and the general public alike, stoking the fires of belief in a government cover-up. Jesse Marcel, who had been a major in the U.S. Air Force and part of the original recovery team at Roswell, also remained vocal about his experiences. He never wavered from his belief that what he saw was of non-human origin, going as far as to participate in multiple interviews and documentaries in the 1970s, where he reiterated that the materials he handled were unlike anything known to man. Marcel's credibility as a military officer gave weight to these claims and encouraged others to come forward with their own accounts. As more individuals spoke out, the Roswell story took on a life of its own. The public no longer viewed it as a simple incident, but as the possible greatest cover-up in history. People began to ask, if this is what they're hiding about aliens, what else don't we know? For decades, there has been widespread belief that technology recovered from Roswell contributed to major scientific advancements. Some speculate that the crash led to breakthroughs in areas such as semiconductors, night vision, and even fiber optics. The theory goes that military scientists reverse-engineered alien technology to give the United States an edge in the Cold War, leading to the rapid technological development seen in the 1950s and 60s. This belief is not unfounded. The U.S. did see a massive leap in technology during this period. Projects such as the development of jets, space exploration, and computer technology all accelerated rapidly. Many of these advancements have plausible explanations, of course, with the war effort and Cold War competition pushing scientists to new heights. But for UFO enthusiasts, these achievements are too convenient to be mere coincidence. The idea that the government is sitting on secret alien technology is thrilling to many. It taps into a broader cultural fascination with the idea that there are forces at play well beyond our comprehension. And this belief isn't just confined to fringe thinkers. Some prominent figures in the scientific community have entertained the possibility of extraterrestrial influence on our technology. Dr. Edgar Mitchell, a former NASA astronaut and the sixth man to walk on the moon, once said that he was privy to the fact that we have been visited on this planet and the UFO phenomenon is real. Mitchell's statements added legitimacy to the idea that the U.S. government has long been covering up the truth about alien contact. As the decades rolled on, Roswell evolved from a niche mystery into a cultural cornerstone. From the mid-20th century onward, UFOs and the concept of alien contact have been embedded in the collective psyche, particularly in the United States. TV shows, films, and books began to incorporate Roswell as a backdrop or key plot point, cementing its place in pop culture. The X-Files, a massively successful TV show in the 1990s, featured Roswell in its broader narrative about government secrets and alien cover-ups. The show's tagline, "The truth is out there," became emblematic of the public's belief that they were being kept in the dark about Roswell and other potential encounters. This sense of skepticism toward authority figures and government bodies was not just a plot device for entertainment, it reflected a very real attitude that had taken root in society. Similarly, the film Independence Day prominently features the Roswell Incident in its storyline, with characters uncovering alien technology hidden by the government since the 1940s. These works of fiction capitalized on the already growing mythology surrounding Roswell and only served to entrench it further into the public consciousness. More than anything, Roswell remains a symbol of distrust, of wonder, and of humanity's quest to understand the unknown. It has become shorthand for any situation where the government is suspected of hiding the truth, from secret military operations to covert research projects. In Roswell, New Mexico, tourism thrives on the city's association with UFO lore. Each year, the Roswell UFO Festival draws thousands of visitors from all over the world. Local businesses, museums, and landmarks all embrace the extraterrestrial theme, making the town synonymous with alien contact. What started as a small, obscure incident has become the beating heart of an entire subculture. In 1994, the United States Air Force attempted to settle the matter once and for all. They released the Roswell Report, which detailed their investigation into the crash. The conclusion? The debris found in Roswell was from a military balloon used in Project Mogul, a top-secret program aimed at detecting Soviet nuclear tests. They explained that test dummies used in crash simulations could have been mistaken for alien bodies, further muddying the waters of the original reports. For some, this report was the long-awaited explanation that made everything clear. For others, it was yet another cover-up, another convenient excuse meant to obscure the real truth. If Roswell teaches us anything, it's that some mysteries can never truly be put to rest. Decades after the fact, it continues to captivate the imagination of people from all walks of life. Even as we advance further into space exploration and SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence continues to search the skies. The story of Roswell remains a reminder that the greatest question of all, are we alone, still haunts humanity. As the Roswell incident shows, the allure of the unknown is powerful. Humans are wired to seek answers, to understand what lies beyond the stars. And yet we are also drawn to mysteries, to the possibility that some things might never be fully explained. Roswell is both a mystery we may never solve, and a story that keeps us searching. The fascination with Roswell shows no signs of slowing down. As we continue our exploration of space, sending probes to distant planets and peering into the far reaches of the universe with powerful telescopes, we carry with us the questions that Roswell first ignited. We may or may not be alone, but one thing is certain: the search for the truth will never stop. Though it has been more than 70 years since the incident, Roswell's mystery remains as fresh as ever. It stands at the intersection of fact and fiction, of official narratives and conspiracy theories, not and of humanity's boundless curiosity. For many, Roswell is more than just a location. It's a symbol of the unknown and of the things that authorities might never tell us. Why does the mystery endure? Perhaps it's because it taps into a fundamental human need, the need to believe that we are part of something greater. Whether that something involves extraterrestrial life or an advanced government cover-up, the Roswell story keeps us engaged in the pursuit of truth. It forces us to question what we know, and more importantly, what we don't know. Since 1947, UFO sightings have continued to be reported all over the world. While some are easily explained by natural phenomena or human error, others remain unsolved. Governments, including the Pentagon, have recently declassified reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, reigniting public interest in the possibility of alien visitation. Yet, even with new sightings and the gradual release of previously classified information, the questions remain largely the same. Could the answers lie not in the distant future, but in what happened in Roswell so long ago? Was this crash the key to unlocking knowledge about life beyond Earth? And if it was, will the truth ever be fully revealed? The legacy of Roswell extends far beyond New Mexico, weaving itself into the very fabric of modern space exploration. As humanity prepares to send missions to Mars, develop technologies to study exoplanets, and search for biosignatures on distant moons, the spirit of Roswell, that drive to explore the unknown, continues to fuel our journey. Ultimately, Roswell represents the never-ending search for truth. It embodies both our fear of the unknown and our desire to uncover the mysteries of the universe. Whether the truth about Roswell is ever fully revealed, its impact on culture, science, and public perception will remain. Roswell is a reminder that curiosity is at the core of human nature. It reminds us that despite our technological progress, some questions may forever remain unanswered. And maybe that's okay, because sometimes the pursuit of those answers is what matters most. It's the journey that compels us to keep looking up at the stars. As long as humanity continues to wonder about the mysteries of the universe, the legacy of Roswell will live on. The incident continues to inspire scientists, UFO enthusiasts, and skeptics alike. Perhaps one day, we will have definitive answers about what happened that summer of 1947. Or perhaps Roswell will forever be a story that symbolizes our fascination with the unexplained. Until then, the question remains, are we alone? For now, the mystery of Roswell remains an unfinished chapter in the story of human curiosity, waiting for the next breakthrough, the next piece of evidence, or perhaps just the next generation of curious minds to pick up where the last left off. In the end, the Roswell incident teaches us not just about aliens or potential cover-ups, but about ourselves. It shows that as a species, we are endlessly fascinated by the possibility of more knowledge, more life, and more truths to discover. Roswell, in all its mystery, reflects this universal longing. Whether it was a weather balloon or an alien spacecraft, the truth of Roswell will continue to live on in every question we ask about the unknown, in every story of government secrecy, and in every star we gaze at in the night sky. The truth may or may not be out there, but the pursuit of it, that's what defines us.